Hey everybody, Joshua here for Unimatrix Zero. Listen, I apologize for not making as much content for this channel as what I should. But, and I'll be honest, it gets hard to want to push stuff on this channel when the barriers to entry are so high, right? And within the last couple of months, and even, when did that software come out? Like about 2 weeks ago they did that? Yeah, like one of the software packages that I'm looking at has only been released for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, okay? So it's one of these things where it was possible, but you're talking I was looking at building an AI powerhouse system in my own home. Initially, it would have cost enough money, like the cost of buying the hardware and rewiring my house, that I could have bought another house. Okay, that's the price point we're talking. And then that price point comes down. And then the price point keeps coming down. Now we're looking at like what, maybe 5-6 grand for a low-end system, 7 or 8 for more of a like sweet spot, 15 to 16 for a high end, and to flush it all out and make it really great, we're looking at like a $20,000 cluster versus, well, enough money to just buy another house, you know. And we're talking software that works. We're talking local LLMs that work within the last 2 to 3 weeks that have been released. So from my standpoint, I finished a lot of my projects. And when I finished it, you know, my daughters had a lot of drama events. So I've been spending a lot of time sitting here in the car. And what do? I read, I research, right? I put YouTube on my screen down here. I put my phone up there to do stuff, you know. I got my computer, my iPad, all my stuff in here to work with, right? Actually, it's a little bit cold this morning, so I'm gonna turn the heat up because it's a little cold and damp. So here's the thing. A number of projects that I've thought about over the past couple of years are possible now. And I've had time to think about it. Now, I know that a lot of people, they're like, AI, it's everywhere. Everybody's talking AI. And yeah, I'm annoyed with it too, because not everything is artificial intelligence. I've been dealing with intelligent algorithms now predictive algorithms now for more than 20 years. And it's not AI, people. It's a bunch of algebra that the computer looks at, and it tells it to go look at other data, add it together, follow a formula, have an output. That's what it is. It's all a predictive algorithm. But now things are getting so complicated, they're getting so advanced that, I mean, to put things into context, I found my old source code from my game that I got involved in the early 2000s. Like, we're talking, what, 2001, 2002 maybe? And then I took it over in like 2003, 2004. Had it in active development until about '09. Shut the game server down in about 2011. Like, phenomenal. Just phenomenal stuff. I put it into some of the new coding agents, and it's like, oh yeah, I can bring this all the way up to date, and then we can run it again, and you can make it playable. And I'm like, wow, this is insane. You know, this is absolutely insane what these AI agents are capable of these days. You know, like, you have people using Claude to do vibe coding. I had no idea what vibe coding was, okay? I'm old. I'm a Zennial, right? I'm a micro generation that comes in at the ass end of Gen X and the very, very, very primal beginning of millennials. And I don't really fit in either generation, so I'm a Zennial, like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, this is absolutely phenomenal stuff. The fact that I can upload my game, all written in like PHP 4, PHP 5, really old tech, and then I can upload the SQL files, and then Codex is like, oh yeah, man, not a problem. By the way, all of this syntax is now broken because, well, we don't use that ancient archaic stuff anymore. All of this has been patched out like a decade ago. Thank you. Thank you. So I've been experimenting, reading, and now that a couple of my major projects are finished, my book, my journal, the audiobook, mostly the definitive edition of my book has been updated. Now that a bunch of that stuff is done, it's opened up another of other opportunities and give me the ability to think about where I should be taking things from here. And we're now reaching the level of, where can AI go and where do I see it going? And that's kind of what Unimatrix Zero research and development is about. It's, where can all of this stuff go? How can we do it responsibly? So I'm looking at Helios private AI systems, building those for companies and helping them deploy their own internal AI, which would have cost $250,000 a year ago, and now it's like $4,000 for a cheap system. It's like, what is this, right? Like, I'm sorry, but one of the biggest projects of my life was derailed because I realized that the hardware that I had access to wouldn't run it. And I couldn't afford to buy what is the equivalent of another house to make the hardware possible. And we were building the software because the software didn't exist. But now it's all possible. And now it's possible not only for the team to do it, but a much smaller development team than what I would have ever thought possible. And I've got some ideas. So I'm going to put forward some stuff for Helios private AI systems that I'm going to offer to build for people through some of my independent contracting stuff. The Helios node, the Helios cluster, offered to build those. I found out this morning, of all places, a random news article popped up. I had a question last night. I couldn't find an answer. And you know how the algorithm works. A random article popped up, and I'm like, oh my God, you mean to tell me all I needed to do was add a second cable? Like, what is this? I'm like, okay, if I want to build a multifunctional cluster, it's going to be 100, 100, 100, 100. I want it faster. I want speed. Okay, well, if I build a private cluster of just 2 units, I can get 200. But it advertises for, it's like, you just plug in another cable, you idiot. And I was like, all I had to do was just, cable number 1 gives me 200. Oh, you want 400? Cable number 2. There's your 400, Mr. Eaton. You just add a second cable. Like, the amount of time it took me to find that out, because apparently it's just not something that was widely published. I'm like, well, the advertised 400, everybody's only getting 200. How do you get 400? Just plug in a second cable. That's all it is. It's just a second cable. And I'm thinking, why am I missing this? Wow. So I'm going to be talking about the Helios node, the Helios cluster. I'm going to be talking about Solar Empire, Endless Wars, and what's becoming of that game, like what I'm working on right now for it, through the GitHub repository. It's completely different. Gonna be talking about Mapletron, which is kind of taking a back seat again, because I'm like, okay, well, Mapletron is very specific to something. And it's a project where it's a niche project. Well, classify most of these are niche projects, but I have to get the base. So I took a step back, right? And I'm like, okay, I have to lay the base down first. Once I can show people the base, I can say, well, this is one of the projects. Right? Funding, volunteers, support for this project. But this project demonstrates all of this other stuff that we can do. And I thought to myself, that's it. And I thought, well, Mapletron is simply a name for one project. maybe I could call it the librarian. Yeah. I gotta come up with names. But I have Mapletron is the personification of a project that I have with AI. And then I thought to myself, well, Mapletron originally was born out of understanding government legislation. And then I said, well, it gave me the idea for building a part into Helios. And then I was like, well, what if Mapletron is on to something bigger? What if Mapletron is on to something that we could use? And then I was like, well, there's a number of things that I can do with Helios. So this is because I've been having a lot of moments more of clarity. I've been able to think more about stuff that we can do. Real world things that will have a real world impact. That will not be like, oh, we're using AI for the sake of using AI. Like, woo, look at us, we're using our artificial intelligence because we're using artificial intelligence. We're using it to make our company better. We're using it to make our workflow better. We're using it to take stress off of our employees. We're using it to be more efficient at what we do. And then I thought to myself, research. Learning. And then I thought to myself, I've written a bunch of articles over on Thinkercast about intelligence and how people learn about things and how people treat the internet, and they crowdsource intelligence. And then I thought to myself, well, we have a learning problem. We have an access to information problem, even though information is at your fingertips. It's not the information. It's the conveyance of the information. And I thought to myself, there are so many cool things that we can do. Why not do it? Why not build it? So here's what I've got going on. I've got a number of projects, ideas for projects. I'm going to go in the house, get my shopping done, get my regular daily routine done, and then I'm going to get out my microphone, my little lapel mic, make sure that's charged up, make sure my lighting is okay, and then I'm going to record a series of videos today talking about the other projects that I've got coming down the pipe and what I think we can do. And I'm going to start sharing the message about how I think we need to start looking at and taking a serious look at a number of things and how we can improve access to information, how we can improve literacy rates, how we can improve people's lives, relieve stress, and make them more efficient, give them back their time in a responsible manner. and maybe have a little bit of fun with cool technology while we're at it. Okay, everybody. That's been my first update for Unimatrix Zero in a little while. My name is Joshua Eaton, and I look forward to seeing what's coming. I really do. Because if what I think can happen can actually happen, the world is going to change. And the world is going to change very much for the better. And I mean that wholeheartedly.